Do what I hate on us. Do better ease on up. What? Huh? Who? Turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up. Just been having that in my head since I woke up this morning. Pump it louder, pump it louder, pump it louder, pump it louder. Turn up the radio, blast the stereo right now. This time. Damn, 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 damn. Ha, ha, ha. I love that shit. It just makes you want to get moving. Makes you want to get moving. Can you tell I'm in a better mood? I guess I should have texted Joey that I was going live before I went live. In the middle of texting Joey. Maybe he'll figure it out. Anyways. So. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. And welcome back to the Easy Reefer's tiny little fish room. Which, hopefully soon will be a fish room that is not so entirely tiny. I mean, not just flip through page after page and show the back of it to the camera. Oi, oi, oi. Oh, look, the schedule. Oh, look, a computer system. Oh, look. I don't even know what that is. There's a house plan. Oh, look, that's the house plan. Oh, sweet. Oh, I forgot how much I like that house plan. Some cute little houses like that. We got an actual master bedroom. Instead of just, you know, another 8x8 bedroom with a fucking bathroom attached. Okay. There, I sent Joey a text message. Alright. So it got me about another 25 minutes before I'm off to the races temporarily. But anyways, I'm just trying to I'm trying to find. Yeah, I'm trying to find. Yeah, I'm just trying to find something. That's like when you turn into a fly so you can look for something. And you find it while you're a fly. So instead of find, it's called flind. I don't know. That's really stupid. I tell you what. I have certainly managed to evolve the property several times. But oh, maybe Joey will get on here and I'll show him the floor plan of the house that he's talking about buying from me. Just having a third buyer, that would be cool. I'm just not trying to build a house to have to sell it, because this is for neighbors only, you know. Anyways. Okay. It doesn't appear as though the fucking thing is in here. Oh. Oh, hello. I forgot I had my regional manufacturing facility mapped out in this notebook. This is a hell of a notebook here. Oh, there we go. Okay. I found the fish store drawing. It's an older fish store drawing, but that's fine. Good morning to whoever just joined. If that is Joey, let me know and I'll show you the floor plan and you can screenshot it. But there we go, I got my spaceship in the background, so I don't have to worry about that. So, ten by 16 bedrooms, washer, dryer, hallway, bathroom, kitchen, island with a bar, dining room, living room, small study nook for a little desk, because that helps keep people organized. And my phone has just decided to go retarded. Seriously? It's fucking pathetic. So yeah. If you're wondering what the orange is, that's my fish tanks. 55 gallon with 4 10 gallons at the bottom, 55 gallon with 4 10 gallons at the bottom. There is that Easy Reefers fish room, and there is probably 2 more 55s over 55s, and I'll probably enclose this. I'll probably enclose my porch and grow fish on it, but we're all gonna have 4 porches, because, you know, why the fuck not? Oh, look at me drawing the boards the wrong way. That's not up to code. You gotta put them that way to get them up to code. This is an old drawing. But I was mostly just trying to count the number of pieces of plywood and everything. And just my lumber counts. So that's how much it costs to build. And then the fish store. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, this is one of the early plumbing maps. Nothing complicated there. Like, seriously, look at your screen right quick if you want to just see fucking chaos. Oi. I like them windows. It's a slant-sided pyramid building. Enter here. Front counter to the left. Although, where is it over here? Man, this has really changed. Yeah, it's going to be enter here, front counter to the left, clownfish breeding area, main display tank, retail area, coral area, and then just massive breeding facility back there. Let's see how. That's definitely a better one. This is pretty close to how it's actually going to be. Enter here, front counter, frozen foods and chemicals and shit, clownfish, diamond. We got the mangrove tree grow outs. We got the extra clownfish grow out space right there. And here we're starting on the module raceway setup, the modular raceway setup. I got my expansion phases dotted out. This is pretty close to how it's gonna wind up. I got my little triangular sump. Yep, that was pretty cool. So Joey, what I had basically decided on doing was, instead of building that actual mechanic residency, we're gonna build just a big mechanic shop for all the houses so everybody can use it. Now, what you'll be able to do is go to work for Honda if you want to around here. I wouldn't really fucking bother with it or recommend it. I'm probably going to wind up trying to push for a dealership franchise out here, or maybe just buy that annoying family out of their piece of shit dealerships. But, no offense, but the younger guy who's the owner's son, he just doesn't have enough of a spine not to be a Honda dealership owner. But old man Richard Honda, yeah. They got a Ford dealership and a Mazda dealership, all sitting in a row, right in the middle of downtown. So much smaller than all the big competing highway on the way into town type of dealerships, you know. I don't know if you've seen any if there's any left like that up north. Most of them usually close down. That deep downtown family dealer lot, you know. And then they get taken over by some shit show used car lot. These guys have managed to, I don't know, it looks like they might have done a major expansion as recently as 20 years ago. Big official Honda dealership looking place, just on a narrow, long slice of land. And they got their own collision center and everything, shared between the dealers. Good setup. They just they don't know how to create excitement. Anyways, I like to create excitement. I like to think of all the different ways a place can acquire free advertising through different plays and, you know, just things. I don't want to go and list things. Top secret shit. This is the actual garage that we're gonna make, and it's gonna have room enough to do a lot of different things related to constructing the buildings at first. And then we're gonna be probably manufacturing our own metal brackets, or at least keeping a small warehouse worth in here in the beginning. So this is going to help with the buildings at first, and it's going to be our own personal garage at first, and then as we construct the manufacturing facility, then it'll get more towards being a for-profit mechanic shop as opposed to just a personal mechanic shop. And we'll basically be restoring the cars that we have, which includes an 05 Civic Coupe and possibly an 02 Civic sedan, and of course my Integra. But I think the Integra is probably going to be the first car, so it can be the clownfish car, so it can help attract business. Just who's not going to want to come see the clownfish car, right? Boy. Speaking of clownfish, I'm just going to put it on mute and let y'all stare at the fish tanks for a little. So have a good day, Joey. I'll see you later on. I'm going to be back in about 10 minutes. All right. And we're back. Hi. Turn up the radio, blast the stereo right now. This town is sizzling, sizzling right. So I found a halfway decent playlist of the Bleach mangas. It's got TYBW. If you search for Bleach playlist TYBW, you can find it. And the problem is it's incomplete because he used the series music and they gave him a bunch of copyright flags after I mentioned it because, you know, I mentioned something is good and then the fucking Google Russians go after him, basically. Anytime I mention that I like something, the Russians go after them, basically. It's fucking crazy, like... But overall, it's pretty much in sequence from the beginning of the final arc there. Basically, everybody's just hanging out in the Soul Society, and then the Quincy's start to show up and fucking killing everyone. It's pretty terrifying. Especially since the season before that kind of has like a post-game feel to it. You know, it's Ichigo trying to get his powers back, and then once he gets his powers back, he's just dominant, you know. But then these assholes come around and just start fucking everything up. And they're just so much more powerful than the captains, it's not even funny. You know, it's funny as shit with this whole Trump and Syria thing. He's saying Islamic State is going to be wiped out, and he's basically pretending not to just be a Russian agent who knows the consequences of his actions. He's pretending to actually think that Russian intelligence is better than our intelligence. That's his legal defense right now. Yeah, he trusts the Turks. Yeah, let's just go with turkeys. He trusts the turkeys more than the chickens or the ducks or no. He trusts the Turks, who have been propagandized by the Russians, and the Russians, who are emanating the propaganda. He trusts them more than the CIA. So he thinks basically we pull out our silly, stupid American troops, and you know, all the problems get solved. Because Trump probably believes the Russian propaganda, the Turkish propaganda, that the Kurds are the ones actually enabling Daesh, because that's who Hillary Clinton and John McCain went and funded. So in the back of his mind, Trump is actually working against working directly against, treasonously against, our intelligence, our troops, our allies.
Charged last night. It's on 38%.
Sucks. Won't be long. Won't be long. Aye. In fact, considering that it won't be long, she might like to look at the floor plan. There you go. And Joey was actually asking me for some numbers on it, so that he could just have options, you know, figured out at least. So nice. Like so simple, so small, but so nice. So anyways, what are you doing? Step one thing again this morning? So yesterday, Adam Schiff and the House Intel Committee launched what seems to be actually an undefinable number or levels of investigation. They're looking at the inauguration committee. They're looking at Trump's financial ties to Russia, to the NRA, to Deutsche Bank. And considering how often I'm, viewed from many places where the European Union and NATO and Interpol sort of base their operations from. I'm comforted that my advice has made its way up the ladder from the lovely people in the Deutsche Bank investigation. And then they came and stole my lighter. Where's my lighter? Hello, pretty little thing that makes fire. Where'd you go? You were my friend. You want coffee this morning, baby? Lighter loss fail. Misha. You scared me and I scared you back by calling your name, huh? So anyways. And of course, if you haven't heard, it came out that Trump spends 60% of his time in, quote, executive time, unscheduled, unstructured. Basically just him farting around watching TV. That's what he does. He just farts around, watches TV. He does what my wife thinks I do when she gets in one of her moods, Yeah. I bet you the Russians give him intelligence updates on me, and he's like jealous that I can just like kind of just track the world and pull its strings from my couch. But I don't think he really gets the way I spend my time. But I do. I do at least spend an hour a day. I sure as hell don't spend 60% of my time watching the fucking news. Really? He's just obsessed over what people think about him. So sad. And let's see, who was it? Maria Butina, her boyfriend. Is that Paul Erickson? I'm seeing this headline. I think that's her. I think that's the guy. He is now either indicted or something. Somebody told me.
The latest indictment that appears to be related to, or at least adjacent to, the Russia investigation. There have been a whole bunch of Russian nationals hit with U.S. criminal charges since Robert Mueller was appointed as special counsel to investigate the Russian attack on our election in 2016.
Okay, there's my 17-second clip, But this looks pretty interesting here. Oh, yeah. Alright. Hold on, we have some reading. On or around the Russian Federation, Russia operated a military intelligence agency called the Main Intelligence Directorate of the General Staff, GRU. Okay, that's just the starting of the indictment. Wow. Oh, we've got actual closed captions. There's something different. Bunch of people employed by the Internet Research Agency in St. Petersburg, Russia, which was run by a Putin-aligned oligarch. That Putin-aligned oligarch himself has been charged by the Justice Department. His Russian company was also charged. But the only Russian citizen who was both charged by the Justice Department and then actually arrested and turned up in a U.S. courtroom is Maria Butina. Charged last year with acting as a secret agent of the Russian Federation, according to prosecutors. She was dispatched by the Russian government officials to infiltrate the Republican Party and the conservative movement on the pretext of supporting gun rights. Oh my God, this is really hard to read. Rachel, if your teleprompter is this shitty, you I don't think you'd be doing as well as you normally do. This is closed caption. That's just, you don't have fucking time to read anything. Holy crap. District of South Dakota, Paul Erickson did knowingly and unlawfully devise a scheme and article to defraud and obtain money by means of false or fraudulent stuff, pretenses, representations, and promises. From August 96? Wait, hold on. What? From on or about 1996. Oh, they're in the time frame now. That's when it all started. That's what I've been saying for years. 96 to 98 is when this shit all started. That's when Putin's rise to power was really happening. That's when he got fucking basically the plan together that he got credit for. The plan is how he got power. He didn't get elected. No, it's all the fucking oligarch, rich fucking mafiosos, okay? Oh, was that too much for the Russian troll to hear? It must have been a Russian troll that was watching, because they just went away after I said that. Yeah, Putin wasn't elected. He's never been elected. Your votes don't count. You spend all your time trying to fuck with American democracy. You think your own fucking democracy is worth a shit? Putin had a plan. The plan was successful. The plan was better than any other plan. That's how he got power. Because powerful men don't cooperate with another powerful man. They compete with them. The only way, especially with you're dealing with the fucking wandering Reich, the Wanderreich. It's like the fucking Quincy's. Perfect word for him. The Wanderreich. You don't have a power structure that we in the West understand. You don't have a power structure that the Russian citizens in Moscow and St. Petersburg and Krasnoyarsk, you don't have anything that they understand. You have a mafia power structure based on who has the best plan to be the most ruthless, to take the most advantage, and to keep our enemies, their enemies, Russia's enemies, as far removed from perceiving reality as possible. Because there is no greater weakness that you can inflict upon a country or its population than schizophrenia. We should be worried about Russian. We're worried about fucking vaccines. We should be worried about Russians. We're worried about Mexicans. Have you ever actually met a Mexican? Have you ever had your bathroom remodeled? Yeah, come on. I think the reason why so many fucking redneck, country-ass, piece of shit white people are so afraid of Mexicans is because they have no culture, and Mexicans do. La cultura. But what do I know? I'm just from Houston. I was just raised by the very bland, cultureless people that are on that whole border of civilizations. That's why they're really afraid. They're not afraid of their culture being taken from them. They're afraid of their culture being out-cultured, outshined. And first and foremost, what you got to get if you're a liberal or if you're a FBI investigator or if you're an Interpol agent, the first thing that you have to get about how the Russians took advantage of the scared white man in this country. Fertility rates. I'm fucking 9 years old, 10 years old being propagandized by fucking skinheads in the KKK. And they were teaching me at that age. I barely was even learning what sex was. I didn't even understand the reproductive process itself. I just like knew dick to pussy and I didn't even know what that meant, you know? Like, if I shouldn't have, I don't think. And they're talking about one day the Mexican population is going to get so large the white man's going to be a minority. But for some reason, there was this idea that it wasn't going to be a Mexican president. Oh no, it was going to be a black president. I remember specifically asking why. Why wouldn't it be somebody like Alberto Gonzalez or somebody like that, you know? And the thing was, the skinheads, the Klan, they didn't actually support the Republicans. They thought the Republicans were all a bunch of half-assed pieces of shit. They thought the Mexican population increase would cause a black man to get elected, and then they would turn to Russia. That was 1991. So yeah, the NRA thing going back to 96, you bet your ass it does. Because Putin started his plan as early as 1984, maybe even as early as the late 70s. Putin was in the position to where he could start formulating his plan. By the time he made mayor of St. Petersburg, you could bet your ass that he had already accomplished a lot of things towards the current day objective. That's why he was made mayor of St. Petersburg to begin with, and that's why he was moved from there to being the ruler of Russia. Mayor of St. Petersburg is basically someone who gets elected by a council of mafia sultans, basically. And they are sort of the CEO of the mafia, operating out of St. Petersburg as its mayor. Sound about right, dear? That's just what I've learned from observing and just seeing how things fucking actually work. Long before anybody talked anything about the whole St. Petersburg Internet Research Agency and stuff like that. It was about just historically where different intelligence agents come from, where different people up to different shit come from, and tracing their accents back to either Moscow, St. Petersburg, or Georgia. Three pretty distinct dialects of Russian. You know, telling the difference between a Moscow accent and the St. Petersburg accent, it's a lot like trying to tell the difference between, I don't know, Indiana and New York or something like that. You just have to realize the difference in the nearby cultural influences. Moscow is more of like a very proper, precise, like the TV Russian, the television Russian, that's Moscow. But then you have basically a more Ukrainian sounding Russian in St. Petersburg. But they talk a bit quicker than the Ukrainians for the most part. Because, well, it's St. Petersburg. And you got to get them words out quick before you fucking freeze your lungs from the inside. Yeah, that's why people up north talk, people up north in general talk faster than people down south. Because they're trying not to fucking freeze. Sorry. I forgot I didn't warn my wife before putting her on camera.
Eat your ass.
Oh, So, defendant Paul Erickson, let's do that, was a resident of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, who solely owned and operated a number of business entities, including Compass Care Incorporated, Investing with Dignity LLC, and an unnamed venture to develop land in the Bakken oil fields of North Dakota. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. $13.43, 1956. Okay, so no RICO yet. I'm guessing that those are the codes for the wire fraud and money laundering problems. But there's this one particular charge that I've been saying is the actual hidden line in many of these indictments. And there's been a couple prosecutors who've now made the case that I'm probably right. All right. What the hell was I talking about?
The charge that you've been talking about.
Oh yeah, okay. So I've been saying basically since 3 days after this fucking bullshit has unfolded, you know, where we basically allowed a terrorist to walk around pretending they're fucking president, which I will just never accept. I will never so much as do business with a fucking Trump supporter. Ever. If you were stupid enough to fall for his shit, you're too stupid for me to fucking have the slightest bit of respect for you. Not on that level. You know. I'll walk your dog, change your tire. But I ain't gonna fucking do nothing that involves trusting your dumb ass. Because I couldn't trust you to stand up for defense of this country. You failed as a basic fucking citizen. So, no. I'm not gonna go into business with anybody who supported Trump. If I ever gotta do anything, transactionally otherwise, I'm just gonna use them for all they're fucking worth. I just can't imagine being that unaware about anything. Anyway, so what I was saying, once he did get, once he stole the election, once Russia stole the election for him, was that it's really stupid to have somebody essentially guilty of running a racket. Because when it all comes down to it, all the different fucking crimes that he's been doing, while engaging in witness intimidation, federal and state and local bribery, you're talking about mafia level racketeering. And some prosecutors, I think on Ari Melber, I think it was one of the people who had said this. It's been multiple people now who have said this, but one of the people who have said this was that prosecutor who talked, what's his name, the little goofy Sicilian guy, talked him into telling the truth and going and talking to the prosecutors at one time. Anyways, what was that guy's name? The younger guy, Sicilian Jew. He's been like old boy's favorite guy to interview and talk to now. But anyways, the prosecutor who was talking to him made the case that it's gonna wind up being that these redacted sections and that the indictments that should have been made so far but haven't been made so far are probably going to be within the purview of the 1978 RICO Act. And unlike the 1972 RICO Act, the 78 addendum has to do with foreign influenced corrupt business and political practices. And basically outlines what it means to be racketeering. Laney, get down. No, sir. Come on. Come on, Amy. So, we are, looks like we're behind on our cell phone bill. Maybe I'll just do a marathon broadcast and keep reminding every few minutes or so that now is the time to show the love on Patreon. And if you want to be one of our investors and our current people who have been helping us out over the past 3 years on this channel and keeping this channel alive, keeping us in our fucking home, you guys are all taken care of and you know who you are. But if you are someone who has, say, considered donating, or maybe like a certain lovely lady from Australia has maybe donated just the one time, we appreciate that. But if you want to claim part of this enterprise, there is a way to do that that is going to be taken down from the Patreon page, or basically closed out shortly. If nobody signs up for that, it's just going to be taken down. Otherwise, it's going to be closed out on whoever invests, and they're going to get the sole share of that allotted percentage. So I guess being the one person who signs up at the $420 level is going to be they're going to be a happy camper. It's a little less division there. But if $420 a month is more than you can afford to invest, don't do it. Don't make it like a bill you have to pay. I don't want to be dragging anybody down unless you're driving a brand new car. No. Unless you got a nice house that's damn near paid for. No, don't. And unless you're okay financially, I don't want anybody struggling even sending me fucking $7. But people who are doing okay, if you want to help keep the channel going, if you want to thank me for all that I've done, that's what the $7 for. The $420, that's for investing. The $42 a month are people who want to sign up now and be really supportive and maybe set up fish tanks of their own and are hoping to get free coral out of me. $42 a month will get you lots of free coral. Just randomly sent to you. And Caulerpa, and maybe, if you want clownfish, you'll probably be getting special treatment when it comes to ordering anything from the Easy Reefer store. All kinds of bonuses and extras. And of course, I'll be putting more of that in writing as the store opens. And that $42 a month and the $72 a month are both going to stay there, because we're going to be asking people to support the Gulf Atlantic Interactive Educational Aquarium. But as for the people who are already invested, who know who they are, yeah. Despite how well things are going to start going in a couple of weeks, we're still broke. And I just glanced over at what my wife was getting all stressed out about. And I saw the words, pay bill now, and $312. Oh, fuck.
Now, that's only part of what I'm stressed out about this morning. The other part of what I'm stressed out about is that the latest OS update on my phone has caused my battery to A, not hold a charge, and B, not to charge. And I use my phone for work. I cannot be tethered to a wall, and even when it's on the charger, it fucking drops. And I'm getting pissed about it. Sorry.
So to avoid this problem, if you wind up with one of these battery and phone things, okay, where you can't replace the battery, never has it been more important to manually cycle your battery. The reason why this software update's affecting it is because people like to plug their cell phone in when it's not fully uncharged. So they've had this software sort of working with the battery to try to monitor exactly how much catalyst versus how much acid is being polarized within the battery, and then putting the exact charge needed instead of at having that, you know, growing space of depolarizable material. This is designed to reduce that from happening. But I don't know if it's a glitch in the software or a conflict in the software that's allowing something else to drain the battery, or whether or not it's just the battery manager itself that's fucked up.
There's the new Samsungs have a fast charger where your phone's supposed to charge twice as fast. That feature no longer works. Even when it's turned on,
Okay, so
it doesn't work.
Another thing that could be at play is the depolarization of the metal on the charging conduit itself, that is the physical plug that sticks into the phone. As it connects via solder to the circuit board, will increase in resistance the more you use your phone while it's charging. So if you have your screen on, or even Wi-Fi on to a certain extent, you know, you want to have your phone dormant and asleep while it's charging, if at all possible. Never scroll Facebook and play video games, for instance, while it's charging.
I don't play video games.
Not anymore, I know. These are the lessons we've learned. Hopefully. So what happens is basically those higher amperage conduits, when conducting electricity as they heat up, the actual physical space, you know, just picture the molecules expanding, those molecules become sort of rearranged to where they're less lined up. Okay, and what that does is raises the actual resistance in the wire. And eventually those wires, say like the fast charging wire, becomes completely depolarized. Can no longer conduct electricity. And eventually, it might just disappear. As weird as that sounds, it might just fucking vaporize. And then one of them little pieces of copper on the back of your charging plug, just suddenly it's gone. That actually happens inside of wires, especially copper wiring, where basically the gradual depolarization and heat and electricity causes the metal to oxidize, and it just crumbles to dust. And if you've ever worked on, say, an old car or old radios, if you have a overdrawn circuit, and you find the wire finally, I've wiggled them and just had them break, and just rust dust just fall out of the wire. There was no metal left inside, like crazy. And what happens is, basically, eventually, a single little break will form. And that break will cause an arc, like a little visual illuminated arc, electrical arc. And the longer that arc can extend itself, the more of that metal is just gonna disappear. Like just basically burning off like a fucking sparkler. And then you pull the rubber away from the wire, and there's just a gap and nothing but ashes left. Kind of cool. But anyway, so yeah. I kind of forgot to do the whole donations at the end of the month last month. frustrated with me because I was a little too focused on business, but that's all been, I suppose, worth it. And now I need to kind of, after the fact, ask for a little bit of help with last month's bills before shit starts getting shut off. So whether it's my old people doing PayPal, or whether some new people want to chip in and join the Patreon support, now would be a great time. You know, the more in need somebody is, the more it counts when you help them. You know, when it comes to giving to other people, I'm not telling anybody to give to me like this, but when it comes to giving people on the streets, to your friends, to your family, the less you have and just giving something, the more you give. The less you have, the bigger that small thing that you give is. But I'm not trying to apply that to me, because I don't want anybody who's struggling like we are giving to us. If you got a friend that's hungrier than you are, go give to them. Anyways. But I'm pretty excited. I'm looking towards the finish line. We got a couple of stressful fucking months ahead of us. But there's been a long time where we just been having these stressful months with no light at the end of the tunnel. It's just been nothing but more tunnel, you know?
I'm used to the dark.
I figured pretty soon we were just gonna have like our noses start turning upward on the end so we could like use sonar and shit. Apparently that's how bats see in the dark, is because they're upturned noses. I don't know. Bats. They always know where it be at. What? Yeah, that was just horrible. Anyways. It's not quite peak time, but I'm still kind of surprised that we don't have any viewers right now. I think Joey and Conway stopped by, or Joey and somebody else stopped by. Yeah, it was Mr. Conway. Mr. Conway is at school and said to stop to say hello in between lectures. Very nice of you, sir. Thank you.
Now you're just asking me stupid questions. Have you tried to charge your phone overnight to see if that helps? Nah, bitch. I thought my phone was solar powered.
No, I shoved it up my twat to keep it warm.
Right.
Like a Tonga beast from Star Wars.
What is this shit?
I just sliced my guts open and just shoved it in there as the steam was rising.
Gave myself a reverse C-section with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot I had a vagina, so I just used a lightsaber. Vroom, vroom. Luke, get in. You'll have to stay in there to keep warm. I know, those weren't the lines, but they should have been. It'll be just like being born all over again. When you come out, you can call yourself. Never mind. I'm not gonna go that far just to make a joke. Sure I will. When you get out, you can call yourself born again. Okay. Because let's face it, these people who say they're born again, I don't think this word means what they think it means. To be born does not mean to, like, have an idea or realize something. No matter how many times you say born again means growing up as a person. No. You may have noticed there's already a phrase for growing up. And it's not born again. It's called growing the fuck up. But anyways. So just like growing up does not mean born again, the words being born again, those things also have meanings. You don't need to make up a meaning for it. There's already a meaning. To be born means to come out of a vagina. Means to be given physical form by your mother. Again, means to repeat something that's already happened. So to be born again means to be given physical form by coming out of a vagina more than once. As in, again. It doesn't mean you took your head out of your ass, because that would just make you a butt baby. And this is not the Starship Enterprise. So you can't have a butt baby. Or was it Voyager? Voyager. Yeah. Yeah, See, that's the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek. Star Wars had lightsabers. Star Trek had butt babies. And that was the sound of one plopping out now. Well, that was the sound of a mediocre at best CSR annoying my wife to where she didn't get a chance to appreciate the butt baby joke. Anyways, so the object of Mr. Paul Erickson's scheme was to enrich himself at the people he defrauded. So it was a sort of a real estate type scheme. He represented to potential investors that his company, Accomplish Care, was in the business of designing, building, and managing assisted living residences for senior citizens. Oh, there's money in that, is there? Because, you know, I can actually do that and then not rip people off and then, you know, actually make the money. Fancy that. In fact, I can probably, just through sheer innovation and application of the fucking genius that I am, and you know, all the applicable modesty and stuff like that. I could probably make as much money as he did ripping people off. While paying laborers more than he fucking ever could have pretended to. Just by being more efficient with the usage of time and materials. Because if I know one thing that is costing a lot of people a lot of money, and it's basically just been being carried onto the backs of homeowners, bill payers, you know, people taking time to do things, that should be more of an artisan type thing, right? And if you want an artisan constructed house, you should pay the money for an artisan constructed house, building, condo, multifamily, whatever. Lane. But there needs to be a better way better than foam and concrete and all the other little coffins you try to put these fucking people in. There needs to be a better way than steel buildings using fucking shipping containers. And again, if you want for people to think you're fucking crazy, and you've been deluded into this concept of it somehow being an efficient thing to do, or you just like the way it looks, or whatever, go get yourself some shipping containers and make a little dodgeball castle out of it, or whatever. That's what it looks like. It looks like one of them old Boy Scout dodgeball things, you know, like a confetti egg war. You ever have a confetti egg war? Oh, those are the best. Fucking slingshots and confetti eggs. Big old cardboard castles. Oh, great times. But there needs to be a way to actually build even homeless people. Okay? Senior citizens? Hell yes. Abused women and single mothers, widows? You bet your ass. Veterans? A must. There needs to be a way to give these people houses that are like houses.
No, bitch, I want you to call me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't with the level of stupid. You see this, right?
PM? Yeah, 3:30.
Asking what time she can call me.
PM?
I said 3:30 p.m. Nah, bitch, call me at 3:30 a.m. That's like the most convenient time.
I want to think I'm being abducted by an owl. So just, you know, just hoot at me.
I thought you said hoot at me for a second.
I know. Isn't that great?
That's awesome. I hope it's somebody other than you, because you can't speak English very well.
I'm a part-time CSR, part-time Russian troll.
Name Juanita.
Oh. Fucking people get assigned names every day.
Yeah, the last time, wait, no.
They come in and they read from a script what their name is.
The last time, wait, who did I talk to last time? John Paul. Before that, it was somebody named
Oh, wait.
OZL.
I just figured something out about the universe. Okay, like... You know, like when you're learning Spanish, right? Like when you learn French, like like in middle school or whatever, like first years of high school, when you take that basic intro foreign language, and they have like, you know, Bob is going to the store, Tina is going to the library. Those are the people that become these customer service agents. That was Juanita. Juanita has given me a banana. It is a Chiquita banana.
Remind me to tell you a funny story.
I have a Chiquita from Juanita.
Right?
Do you want to see my forbidden dance? This is my spiral of love. Oh, shush. Do you remember the fucking Twizzler commercial? Do you want to see my forbidden dance? Oh, man. So yeah, I think those people are somehow, I don't know, Maybe it's like the same people that write the first language textbooks wind up writing the script for the customer service reps, and they just use all the same names. But I think it might actually be the same people. Those people from those actual lessons became customer service agents. There's some sort of fal'Cie-like archetype, AI, transient throughout the matrix. And they're always going to the shoe store or the library for some reason. At 3:30 p.m.? No, a.m. Yep, definitely p.m. Because at 3:30 a.m. I'm gonna be busy being visited by aliens and shit. Obviously. Because that's what farmers do. Wait, what? I'm kidding. People that live out in the country don't always get abducted by aliens.
Not always.
Sometimes they make crop circles.
Is that what you call what Dumbass Next Door does?
And by crop circles, I mean doing donuts in the mud with giant pickup trucks. Look how fucking big Petey's getting. Oh, man. Well, whoever just fucked up my broadcast is gonna wind up with a close friend or relative on fire very soon. Because, you know, I can be nice sometimes. This just isn't one of them. Petey, Petey, Petey. My, where's your friend? There he is. Alright, I guess I'll get in there with the fucking scraper today since I'm all in a good mood and feeling motivated and shit. Hey, don't be sarcastic. I don't need your nice aquarium shit on my fucking dirty ass glass. I appreciate the, you know, the sentiment though. At least this one still looks good when it's dirty. Because, you know, coral. But this is Laney. Shit, cat. Don't act like you want to go in that fish tank, because I'll put your ass in there.
In that one in particular. Just for mine, Petey.
Right? If I was him, I wouldn't make an enemy of Petey now in case he wants to get curious later. Because if Petey gets used to you, when Petey grows up, Petey might just take a nibble of your ass. But this one actually, I think he is a she, which means he's going to be one of the good ones. They have sort of a some of them have sort of like a dominance from birth, sort of like in clownfish, where there's one that's like just kind of destined to be a female. The more Speaking of batteries, that time it was my fault. Yeah. Even I sometimes ignore the prophecies and the warning signs. You know, like the notification window that comes up to say, is your fucking battery's low? iPhone, it's got a little extra clue for smart people. They could have made it simpler for stupid people. And for people who were distracted by lots of different things like I was, apparently, just now, when I, resulted in actions similar to stupid people. Because, occasionally everybody's got to be a stupid people. Can you see yet? Just let me know when it comes back up. I'm gonna fuck with it until then. Now, no, okay, hold on. And now. Usually that's what works. Just minimize and reopen the app. My phone had to restart. Oh, hey, there we go. Cool. And now we'll just do the baby shark thing. Baby shark. This is something I don't know if my wife has fucking seen this yet. I just kind of noticed my forehead was going like this while I was talking one time. I'm like, oh look, here's a baby shark. Anyways, so unfortunately, we're gonna be pretty much audio only anyways for a little while because my phone's charging in. It about that whole little clue thing. When it first starts to get to where the battery's dead, it goes, 10% battery remaining or whatever, and it has your OK thing. But then above it, it has a little thing where it says low power mode. And I think it shows you that twice. And then it shows you, you've got this percent of your battery remaining. And then it just has the OK. And the low power mode thing goes away. And that's a clue for smart people. Because at this point, you should realize that the battery has gotten so low that low power mode won't do you any fucking good. It's too late for that shit. And then it goes up one more time. Still, again, same thing. with just the OK at the bottom. Should have been more than enough for me to know. Now's the time to charge. It could just shut off at any fucking second now. But I was just one thing to another. Oh, Petey, squirrel. But you see, I wouldn't expect people with maybe IQs below 121. Yeah. About 40% of people, at least. 60%. Yeah. Should be 40%, probably about 60%. To really be able to figure that out. You know? And when it comes to the people who are really on their cell phones a lot, just going places just to take selfies there and shit, those kind of people. They're the ones who really need to know. So it shouldn't just have like, your battery's almost dead, low power mode, okay, and then have that flash up again. Low power mode, see? That's too complicated right there. They might know what conserve what's left means, but you're better off just writing save battery.
Huh.
Then the next one should just be like feeling weak, like the phone's talking to them. Then the next one is, I'm gonna die. Like, or maybe just like, plug me in now, dumbass, or something. I don't know. That's what mine should. I would love it if that's what mine said. Time to plug me in, dumbass. With Red's voice from That 70s Show. Oh, that'd be, oh. Whoever signs him up to that shit or finds somebody to impersonate him or something, it wouldn't be as good. People wouldn't pay as much money for it. But that's gold right there. Low power notifications and system storage notifications by Red from That 70s Show. Oh, that would be fucking poetic. Epic, epic. Your storage space is running low, dumbass. Try deleting some fucking photos. You can't download that, you moron. Why don't you go see if your mom will clean up your SD card for you?
Yeah. Really, I'm about to have to get up soon.
What's cool about this channel is you get to just sit there in silence and see exactly how long it takes for me to make up the next joke. Well, hi, Lainey. Lainey's like, nobody gives a fuck about your jokes. You're not even funny. Show me, I'm cute. I'm the real star here.
What's Daddy doing?
Fucking adorable ass photogenic cat right there. with his lynx ears. How you doing, my little pre-banana?
What?
This probably isn't helping the whole battery thing. See, I'm not being a dumbass hypocrite when it comes to the way I treat this phone, though. I have resented this phone from the beginning. I want a keyboard. I want a keyboard. I want to type. I want to remember how to be able to spell. I don't want to just get older and older and just fucking become stupider and stupider because I don't even have to fucking type anything anymore. Okay? That's bullshit. Like, that alone just makes me want to fucking sue. Like, don't make me fucking make a more complicated argument than you fucking people can even understand. But what you're doing here makes you liable. When the dust settles, now, I would be way too proud of the investigators if they actually found the connection to the particular subject I was talking about and what's going on now, because there actually is one. As fucking weird as that sounds, as far-fetched as it is, you just got to realize that they're that good, people. You have to realize what kind of an effect it has to take people's keyboards away. Especially when it comes to hacking the text-to-type, the talk-to-text algorithm in order to intentionally, ungrammatically replace words that Americans usually get right with words that Russians usually get wrong. Like there and your. And this only happened recently, after it came out about all the trolls being involved in the election. So they're basically covering for them by helping them both disguise themselves now and convey the impression that, you know, those people who before now didn't have the ability to distinguish between the proper tenses of the words your and there. They weren't Russian trolls, maybe. They were just people with iPhones. No, the iPhone used to be much better about this shit. And even mine was in the beginning. And then old boy from T-Mobile went and fucking hang out at Trump Tower for a while. And then guess what? No more keyboard phones. And I get this phone. And then he goes back. And then since he's been up there, he's been like on an extended stay now. Since he's been there, that I've had this phone, I've been having a whole lot of weird trouble sending messages and shit. Calling people, everything. That's why I was getting so antsy about like 2 out of 3 fucking investors. But having everybody on board now means that pretty soon I'm just going to rearrange the entire YouTube presence, have just a separation of business and politics altogether. Do what I wanted to do here even though YouTube fucked with me for the wrong thing and pissed me off. Like, basically they demonstrated that they're really on the satanic side of things. Either that, or they're so full of shit that they think that they, or somebody that they knew more than me about how the ocean works. What's interesting about that is those particular videos I'm thinking of, where I made scientific analysis of current trends. Like the red tides, for instance, the red tide video, yeah, demonetized. I'm just, not even being an anti-capitalist. Okay, I think that's what, what done me in about that or something. I don't know. But maybe they thought they could, basically, here's my logic. This is what I sensed at the time, okay? They were under the impression that they could basically demonetize me for having a pro-capitalist, economically self-sustaining, you don't need to have socialism just to take care of the environment kind of standpoint, okay? Because I have lots of different systems that help you profit off of cleaning up the environment, okay? That's how it needs to be done. That's how we can save the world, people, right? I'm not going to win that argument with you right now. Okay, I'll win it later. I'm going to tell you what these people were thinking. What they were thinking at the time was that they could, because they thought my claim was somehow unfounded in science, instead of, when this all goes to court, when this gets analyzed by people in Interpol and the FBI and the CIA, under any of these circumstances, they could claim, if asked, that they did such because this guy's making erroneous scientific claims, not because I correctly have stated that environmental cleanup needs to be done on a for-profit basis, or else it won't get done. And you can have all your utopian pipe dreams about what should be while the shit burns around you. But you see, the thing is, the 3 months following that video, now, everyone who's been promoting communism and socialism, those people are bought and paid for by mobsters who ultimately control any socialistic system. Anyways, like what people can convince high school students of and what reality and history actually show are two vastly different things. Okay, and I've explained this over and over again, and there is no way to argue it with my explanation, because it is what happens in reality. A socialistic system becomes a command economy because of the emergence, inevitably, of a black market. The black market is controlled by the mafia. The mafia then corrupts its way to power. Then you have a dictatorship. You have stick socialism, Stalinism, Leninism. And basically the whole idea of socialism wasn't created by fucking utopian people. It was created by mobsters trying to delude people into this idea of giving up everything that they have, even their very freedom, for a false heaven that can only be given to them by God, not Satan, who has lied to them. And that is the God of war, who has always dwelt in the north. Anyways. Well, what would I know? I just fucking created everything. Yeah. You think of the devil as an ancient thing, I think of him as a fucking annoying kid. Well, a very talented, impressive, but still annoying kid. But, you know, kids have to be tested. And nothing takes the weight off of someone's shoulders like having kids test each other. Anyways, so after I made these warnings about the whole, you know, oceans turning red thing, what I was speaking of was basically how it can cause the ecological chemistry to go out of balance, and for there to essentially only be enough atmospheric oxygen to sustain mammals under 65 pounds. And there wouldn't be any recovery from that. That would be you know, within any practical time period for us to like technologically survive, you know, like there's no way. None. It's gonna get too bad for too long. And what I said was, basically here's how you can map out just how bad red tides can get if you keep doing what you're doing. Now before this, and the seasons before this, there was not any big notable red tide thing happening. But you remember just recently all the fucking red tides happening. That was after I made this warning that the YouTube people demonetized. And well, you know, they demonetized it. I ranted about it. And I said, don't make me paint my truth with the very reality you find yourself in, children. Because you are not in Kansas anymore. Just another phrase Alex Jones stole from me because of the instruction of his Russian masters. They steal things from me for psychological effect all the time because, well, I'm a hell of a wordsmith. When I'm not full of hot air. Yeah, it's funny. In a world where people are brainwashed from birth and their minds clouded by demons, in a world where just nobody even seems original anymore, it seems that I have a unique ability to kind of tell it like it is. And if you know everything that I've taught, you'd know exactly how true that is and how powerful my very words actually are, which is something that's downright creepy for me. That's how powerful they are. Okay? I've spoken things into existence on this channel in real time. Said, yep, this is going to happen. I'm not predicting it. I'm about to cause it. Go ahead and wait for it. It'll be around. This includes movies simply made to tell stories that I was too tired to keep telling. One of them is Moana. I think the best one that I most specifically and accurately described in, I think, maybe an 8-month period before anybody even heard about it, a year and a half before it came out, was the Great Wall movie. This was when I was basically first explaining the Horde and what it actually was, and also trying to explain why China should be reached out to in a different way. Not coddled, but respected. But one thing we cannot do is reinforce the propaganda that has made the Chinese people forget their true past, the past of unity with Japan. But that is actually a movie that Moana helps connect to the present day. Anyways, but you'd have to see the old Johannite genocide videos, because I'm not going through all the taxation that it takes to tell those stories. I've told them several times, just to try to remember and get further. But I think it's probably April 2015 for the first editions, and it explains the whole Mary Magdalene, John the Baptist thing, and explains the difference between fake history and the memory of someone who was actually there. And I did many things along the way just to make sure people understood that I'm a, actual magical being in the possession of Merlin's wand, because the only reason why that name exists is because people are reborn through vaginas. No, it's because I am the way, the truth, and the life. And what does that mean? Well, the things I've been telling you to do. The way. That is the logical way to survive as a species. That is the only way to resist the powers that are trying to enslave you right now. The truth? The truth is the only thing that can protect you from the brainwashing of these enslavers. And I would love to find someone who's brought it besides me. I would love to be able to call someone else master. The life, it is my fate. It is my memories of being an ancient being since birth. And in all the ways the universe is twisted just to teach me the hardest fucking lessons that can be taught. And understanding the relationship between that experiential state and God's greater existence. Understanding that when God comes here, he comes as a man and a woman, because God is far too powerful to occupy one sex. The truth about the army of lies and the defiler that they've sent to this country, and the way we need to learn to treat each other I mean, that kind of says it all, but, you know, I mean, economically, medically, not just, you know, socially. There is no way to the Father but by these things. There isn't a person on the world, when you take into effect the actual things that are at stake here, that are going on right now, the war that's going on right now. There isn't a person in the world who has, through old scriptures, found the righteous path. They are all lost sheep. The blind leading the blind off a cliff or another. And again, I wish it was somebody else who could put their fingers up in the sky and say, you want to know who I am, this is who I am, and have the lightning strike right behind them and the entire cloud cover turn into their face. That happened on video. The screenshots are shared on Twitter. These things are all plain for anyone to see. And it is Russia who puts effort into keeping people from seeing it. Oh look, the land of Nod itself, the horde, the army of lies. But there's been some recent videos that explain that in a lot more detail. And like the missing 18 years video. That's one worth watching if you're not familiar with all this stuff. Want me to stop it? These people can wait. I can always put it on mute and get back to them. Yes, ma'am. So yeah, I mean, to even have a shot in hell of understanding what you're doing right now when you're watching this channel, you have to have spent most of your life contemplating what the definition of Christ is, what it means to be fully God and man. And if you had any instinct of truth at all, you'd be sitting there fucking wondering, who is this Mary person? And why does everybody call her a whore? Now, I may have called her a whore once or twice, but I was angry. And just because I say something doesn't mean it's the law. When I say something's the law, that's when it's the fucking law. Oh no, at this point, there's only 2 people who even make it to this channel. That's, and really, I think even, yeah, 100%. 100%, 6% considering how many of them have died. Oh, inadvertently. People who thought one time in their childhood when listening to a preacher or a Sunday school teacher that they would one day be there when the time came. When I came back. I can sense it so easily because that's something we have in common. But until I awoke in 2011 and remembered everything from my childhood and what the meaning of it was, and the sky opened up and the Father came right down and told me himself, but wait a minute. If you're me in the future, that means I'm, like, I was really rejecting it. I just did not want to know. You know, everybody has their ultimate future self, their manifestation of soul without time. That is a star. In my case, it's a gigantic blue galaxy, but that's, you know, where I spend my free time. Time is it? I have to make a visit before the fucking house gets too hot. The AC is not working right, and the house got god-awfully hot yesterday. I got my friend coming to fix it this evening. Doesn't do me any good around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But anyways. So in 2011, when I found her again, the fact that she was real meant all this weird esoteric shit from my childhood was real. Which meant the reason for my early age wisdom wasn't just dreams, it was real. And the things I remembered meant that I was, so not a normal human being. No normal human being should be there for, you know, creation and all that. Recreation. The recreation of 1984, and then of course remembering that gave me the ability and the exorcisms I had performed that are on film on the Lost Begotten channel and have been uploaded here too, but are in original form from 2011 on the Lost Begotten channel. The former Sean Morris, my personal account channel. Capricorn, of course, was born on January 7th. I'm always born on January 7th because that's the day that God rested. But humans have this idea that the universe somehow does not have the right or privilege to participate in its own creation. Don't even have the right to participate? Like I can make this construct of personal evolution and freedom and choice and experience and feeling and balance and comparison. I'm just not allowed to do it. Y'all are so mean. I don't even know like your name or what gender you are, but you're telling me your birthday, okay. Don't expect me to remember that. I'm bad with names and birthdays anyway, shit. You are aware that the Eastern Orthodoxy celebrates Christmas on January the 7th. I just know why they do it. But anyways, yeah, so in 2011, you can see me exercising the false deity that was residing in the sun. And what's interesting about that video, to me at least, two things. One is the spirit pressure was so dense that it appeared as basically 1,000 black holes per second popping randomly in the atmosphere. Yeah. And the other is, you know, the lens flare that happens when you're pointing a camera to the sun? And yes, I was holding a camera while performing the exorcism because I care. Because realizing the reality you're in is the path to mastering it. And how could I make people realize the reality that they were in without catching it on video these days, you know? Well, the lens flare at the bottom of the screen where it's dark because there's a roof line, sun up here, skyline, roof line, lens flare at the bottom. In the bottom, clear, Shroud of Turin face. And coming from the sun and kind of going like this and off to the side, at first you can see Hathor's face, and then it turns into an Egyptian eye of Hathor. Again, original videos still up from 2011 on the Lost Begotten channel. I've also uploaded that here. And gone through on live streams with screen sharing and shown the original file with the date and everything. You know, so just like with the whole zap zap, there's no faking it. I mean, what happened last week? I basically said I'm coming for Google headquarters. Because they've been pissing me the fuck off. And I just wanted to remind them. You know damn good and well who you're pissing off. But just in case you forgot, let it be known. you're about to get a fucking reminder. And then the first big storm hit him, and I said, nope, not done yet. And then another big storm hit him. I said, nope, not done yet. And they had a giant fucking natural gas explosion. Nope, not done yet. I believe I gave that warning Thursday. And I won't explain what certain people will already be thinking if they need to know. Yep. Capricorn. Oh, man. But anyways, see, the thing about me is, unlike what all the bullshitters have been telling you to expect, is that I make it very clear that it's not about me. You see, I'm retired. Most of what people have been preaching as being apocalypse these things happened beginning 2,000 years ago. You should know this, because even in the Bible that you have, it says these things would happen immediately. Now, you know, like the word being born, you know, coming out of a vagina. Immediately, well, it means fucking immediately, doesn't it? And in case that wasn't good enough for you, terminology was given in context to the audience at the time, before this generation passes. That generally means within 30 to 130 years. And if you look at the time it took for the kingdom of heaven to be established, and for origin to originate, oh, and of course, don't believe half of what's written about or supposedly by him, although the photos or, yes, paintings make it pretty obvious. But then, you know, where there's a need for a cover-up, there's always a bullshit story about questionable behavior. Now, I'm not saying that I don't do anything questionable, but there's shit I do and there's shit I don't do, you know? You're talking about someone that hangs around with winos and beggars and thieves, you got the right guy. When you're talking about someone who wants to fuck somebody's wife, or whatever weird homosexual or otherwise, not that I have a problem with homosexuals, it's just never been my thing. Yeah. It shouldn't surprise anyone that they would go through great efforts to falsify historical data in order to make it seem like one of the founding philosophers of Christianity in Egypt, named, or called at least, Origen, if you got, you know, skill and talents and mojo and gumptions and you're halfway attractive, your balls should go to good use. That's all I'm saying. So straight is just logical to me. I can't be any other way. And, you know, I like boobies. So, like, I've been mad enough at women to wish I was gay, but the whole biological reaction that I have to men, no, it's the only time a guy turns me on in any way is when he becomes worthy of beating the shit out of, and then the only hard-on I get is in my fists. Maybe a little bit of strengthening to the canine region of the but, you know, that also occasionally happens with redheads. And speaking of redheads, back to the exorcism of Hathor from the Sun. So yeah, that was the Leviathan spirit of my ex-wife in this lifetime, speaking of being reborn also. And in a still image on that video and several photos I've taken since then, the Leviathan of Hathor that I had basically destroyed the world and recreated the universe in a different time frame multiple times just to escape her wrath, shifting us back and forward in a pattern that I cannot divulge. It's that crucial. This reality that we're in right now is actually that weak and defenseless that it's absolutely important that Leviathan not find its way out of this eyeball and the universe that I created to imprison her within it. But yeah, you can see those zoomed in photos. I'm not going to sit there and hold the fucking thing up. Here, you want to see? If she says hello, let me know. Huh? Anyways, sneaky-headed looking bitch, man. Jawline right above a pyramid. Pyramid's right at the bottom. Anyways. So yeah, I had become disturbingly powerful for a couple of months back in 2011. Skin glowing blue, eyes glowing amber, that kind of thing. Eyes glowing white. Only amber, really, when I was battling. With like a bluish white. And I could make this bluish white appear at will. 2 other people. Yeah, mind-blowing experience. Let me just point that out, you know, fully God, fully man. Oh, the whole time. Not only is it blowing my mind, but the more I fucking confirm that I can't escape this fate, the more depressed I got. And this depression has been coming and going in waves ever since. But, you know, I don't want to go through all the whole, every little detail of everything I did to confirm myself. But I didn't know anything about fucking Johannism until then. I woke up and realized, oh, look, I'm John the Baptist, and John the Baptist actually is Christ. And, oh, wait, am I here at the final chapter of Revelation? Yeah, pretty much. I should be able to find 144,000 people who all wear nothing but white, who would have remembered that one little fact, because that would mean that all of the Christians are basically performing blasphemy when they profane the name of I am, which I am is Gaelic. I'm a Gaul. I'm from Galilee. Okay? I am is Jesus. Okay? However, at the time, the people that led up to being Mandeans, or what was known as the greater Yazdites, or Yazidis, had a goddess of nature who was the lover of the creator deity and sort of co-creator with him, and that was Yazoo. So you have an amalgamation of John the Baptist and Mary Magdalene, and the words that they spoke into the Gaelic phrase for I am, Gaelic being a tribe of Israel, actually a combination of 3 tribes of Israel, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh, into the phrase I am Jesus. And when I first taught this lesson, I said I would bend reality to make sure that everybody knew, especially the trolls who were suppressing me, knew that this was a truth that they could not escape. And that's when the Charlie Hebdo thing happened. And around the world, everybody said, Je suis Charlie. Mic drop? I'll be back. Give me just 1 minute, please. Sorry about that. Nature calls. So, in the Bible, you can actually take this into account and learn more about what was actually said and the politics and the history and the context of the times, what was going on there. It's very similar to what's going on now. But when it comes to the 144,000 clothed in white, they started making news just at that time. They're called the Mandeans. It's an odd number for an entire population. But that's who they are. They are the one tribe of Christians of St. John that are left. And they all live, most of them traditionally live on the River Jordan and have exclusively a white traditional garb that everybody wears. Anyways. Hold on one second. Alright, so sorry about that. Had to do some business consulting. But anyways. So yeah, some clues about the who's. Talking about turn and let somebody strike the other cheek. There is a weirdly amalgamized usage of that in Matthew, and I really can't figure out Matthew altogether. But there's some parts of Matthew that I've figured out that nobody else has figured out, and that shouldn't be surprising. But I will say, just like overall Matthew, I can't figure out. It just seems like they just put everything together in one book. But let's just approach that one quote logically, out of context, but logically. I've said this before too. Turning and letting somebody strike the other cheek is how you get a man in trouble for beating on you. Those are the words of a woman. A woman who is very passionate about the enslavement and oppression, actual physical enslavement, the buying and selling of women and children. But there were laws against abusing slaves. Just like there were laws against abusing purchased wives, which is, what women of right age would become. But then, for instance, when you have someone say, those who live by the sword die by the sword, after just explaining that people are going to come carry me off to execute me. Either you're saying Jesus is a dumbass, or you understand that Jesus was saying he's dying because he was a murderer. And as I've explained in the Missing 18 Years video, well, live by the sword I did. Precisely that. I was a mercenary for 13 of those 18 years. But anyway, that's going to be all for now. I got to go. Might be on later in the afternoon. Might be until late this evening. I'm not sure. But go and check out those other videos. And I'll holler at y'all later. Click the like button. Make sure you subscribe.